How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's edition of Fan Zone right here on Top 6 Fan TV. With me in the studio is representation from the United side, Musem, and Faz carrying the Arsenal flag. Of course, Musem is outnumbered by two Arsenal fans today. Today I'm not wearing my neutral hat on, but we'll definitely be looking forward to enjoying quite a bit of the insight that Musem has to share about the match last night, and we'll get into it right after this. Brilliant, brilliant. Welcome, and you are most welcome to this week's edition, like I mentioned, of the Fan Zone. And ideally, there's no other place to start than the Emirates, where the Red Devils were in town and came through to visit the Arsenal, hoping to pull off, should I say, an upset or to show some progress under Ruben Amorim after a very solid 4-0 result at the weekend. But 2-0 was the final score. The Gunners coming out victorious. Goals there from the set piece kings converted by their defenders, William Saliba, and of course, our Dutch maestro. What's his name? His name runs away from me. Fans, help me out. Okay, what's his name? Timber. Julian Timber. Solid. 2-0 the final score. And I need to hand the mic to Musem for his take on the match. First half seemed to be, a balanced game. Very, very, very balanced game. Man United managing to contain Arsenal, but that's also not kicking into gear, to be honest. But the second half, the onslaught of set pieces was quite unbelievable. But Musem, your take on the match and your assessment of United's progress thus far.
Okay, I think, of course, the old rivalry, Arsenal, Man U, somehow was being dragged back into the fray. But I think these two teams are miles apart for now. You can imagine, I think the last time I was here on the show, I remember categorically stating that it would be wrong for the owners to change management in the middle of the season, because then it throws the entire season into disarray. But definitely, Amorim is in preseason. We can say he's in preseason. He has had how many games? 3 games. He's tried out almost everyone in the side, to see who is going to do what. So in terms of the two matchups, these two teams are miles apart. That said, it's shocking that the first half was, if you call it balanced, as it was, because of course everybody expected Arsenal to steamroll United. United is still trying to figure out, the manager is still trying to figure out which players are going to do what I want for me. And I think he has mentioned many times that he's not going to change. He's going to be who he is. Then the rest of the people have to fit into his style. And we saw it for the first 45 minutes. He wants control on the ball. I think United had the majority of possession, albeit in their own half. But that's what he wants. If you have control, and I think in a snap, Dallo had some chance there. If he had taken, surprisingly, United would have gone into the break ahead. So yeah, still miles apart. It's the statistics showed United has lost to Arsenal for the 4th time in a row. I think it's the first time this has happened, and it's strange because 20 years ago These teams had a very brilliant rivalry, and it's hard to imagine that United could lose 4 games in a row in the olden days. But that's the distance. They are really, there's a big gulf. United still has a lot of work to do. Amorim still has a lot of work to do. And the good thing is that he acknowledges that. And I'm happy to see that he's making everybody know that if you're not ready to put in the work, you'll be out. So it's hard to sit here on this show, and there's been a storm on the forums. United, Arsenal, the Arsenal fans came out on top. But in terms, the reality is these are clubs that are miles apart. As is United is what, 9th, 10th, or something. Arsenal should be challenging for that trophy, and actually that's where we are hitting back at you, Arsenal fans. You should be competing with Liverpool. You shouldn't really jubilate a lot about beating an out of sorts United in pre-season. Amorim is in pre-season, literally. He's trying to figure out which side is going to play who. He's literally playing every squad player that he has. You shouldn't be jubilating, really. You shouldn't.
First, do you agree with that assessment? The man is believes we're in pre-season. So, go ahead.
Yes, first of all, I think he's right. We should be challenging. If it wasn't for those red cards we considered in the early on in the season, I think it would be like 1 or 2 points off Liverpool. But then that's still that I'm very confident Liverpool is going to fall off. I don't trust them. I don't. Especially I've already told you about the midfield. Their midfield is very shaky. However, going into the game, the way he started, I think Arteta really respected Amorim. I'll call him Morin. Yeah, he really respected Morin. But the way the game started, the game plan was a typical Portuguese game from United. Just contain. If a team is very dangerous, if you're playing an opponent, if you're playing an opponent that is very attacking, you have to just contain them. Make sure you don't lose the ball. They tried to contain, pass around. If they lost the ball, they were solid at the back. They had 5 defenders at the back. They could easily defend any chance Arsenal was going, any threat Arsenal was going to pose. And then as we went into the game, we had an extra tool we could use, the set pieces. That's what everybody is complaining about. We are very good at set pieces. It's not a curse. It's actually a blessing and a gift any team could have. We pulled out that.
Calling you toxic.
Yes.
That's Bolton FC on Red Bull. Bolton FC on Red Bull.
We are not toxic. This is Arsenal. And United guys have to eat the humble pie. They didn't pose any threat. They didn't. Attacking wise, they didn't. All they had to do was just, they played a containing game. That is all they did. If you remember how the way we played Sporting Lisbon, I think 2 seasons ago, and then also FC Porto last season, the way they played against us, they are not, they don't pose attacking threats. They're just there to contain. Any chance, even if it's a single chance that they get and they score, they're going to defend on that. And that is exactly what they were trying to play yesterday. Unfortunately, we had set pieces. And we had to take a plus on that. Don't put us down using that because we've been scoring free kicks, corners and free kicks this season. You get. However, what I will tell Manchester United fans, it's too early to judge them. Honestly, it's very too early. I say the only time I'm going to turn to United is after 10 games. After 10 games, the grace period is done. This pre-season thing, no. We are now 4 games into. He played Ipswich, and then midweek, right? And then there is a game he played over the weekend, and then this one. This is the 4th game. He has 6 more games before I come hard on him. That's my.
And he has some big games there to come. And let me just welcome Mr. Jupe, Man City fan.
Yes,
How are you,
sir.
Bonnie?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. I see your camera has issues, but we'll still bring you to the discussion around Man City, the result.
Okay.
You can't do 6 games in a row and want to be on camera.
We'll bring you to your take on Man United's defeat away at Arsenal.
Well, I think it was not their day because Arsenal played well. Manu looked a bit fair, so it was a fair game, but they were just not lucky, in my opinion.
Manu are not lucky.
Yeah.
My brother. I don't know if it was all about luck, but set piece aside, I know we're focusing on the set pieces, but in the second half, I felt like Arsenal, in addition to the set pieces, they're dominating. I mean, United didn't have a set
They
piece.
dominated. They dominated, but I would not say. Generally, it was a fair game. You know, it's not like the way, let me say, Liverpool played Manchester City. It was a fair game, but of course Arsenal was a bit better. Yeah.
Okay, let's take your word for it as a City fan, and we'll have Musem wrap up on that one. So what next? What next? What next, Musem, for Man United? Your initial assessment of Amorim. I mean, 4-0 victory at the weekend. Seemed to have Rashford flying again. Zaxi also scored a couple of goals. I need they both started on the bench. I didn't understand some of his selections, to be honest, for the Arsenal match. And like you mentioned, maybe he's just trying out. He's in preseason, but it did. I mean, with Arsenal starting, also getting some late injury setbacks, and starting Jacob Kivior and Zinchenko on the left side of defense, I think United really missed an opportunity. I think if you started with Rashford, because he always scores against Arsenal, if you had started with Rashford on the right, he would have tormented those two in defense and made the game a bit more interesting. But the game aside, Amorim so far, his first few games, what's your impression of him? Do you see a style of play? Do you see more organization? What needs to improve?
Okay, like I said it earlier, that because of the rivalry of United and Arsenal in the past, there's always that temptation to throw, that hype. The Premiership is about entertainment and vibe and excitement. But Amorim has done so well on a couple of things. And the first thing that he did was not to be sucked in and then throw out the plan that he had. We were all shocked by the team that he put out. Of course, we expected people like Amad Diallo starting on the right. We expected Rashford to be in there and about to give some kind of threat to Arsenal. But his plan is, I need to try out all the players. I need to freshen up the players. I need to rotate. The games are coming thick and fast. He has a plan. And you see, like I said, he's in preseason. When you're in preseason, you have a plan that you've laid out. You go into a game, you lose, you don't switch it up because you must maybe keep some people happy. So I'm happy with what I'm seeing so far. He seems a level-headed guy, and the most impressive thing about Amon, he hates to lose. This is a guy who has been winning for years. His teams, Benfica, Sporting, have been winning. So you can see a guy who's passionate about winning. His first game against Ipswich, he had been with the side for about 2 days. Guys had just come from international games, and he was so frustrated drawing with Ipswich. You could see it in his eyes. He had teary eyes drawing against Ipswich. So this is the guy who's very passionate. It's him. It's not about which club he's playing for. He wants to win. He gets frustrated for not winning, and I think this is a guy you want to back. Of course, we backed all the other managers. Like I keep saying on the forum, you have to back the manager you have in front of you. You can't back someone else's wife per se. You have a wife in the house, that's who you married, you back them. So we backed Ten Hag. He would come in some press conferences and, give excuses for players, for the team's performances. Amorim doesn't. He's clear what players must do, what he wants the team to do. I think he has potential to be what maybe United has been missing. And 2 years, I don't know, seems like a short contract, but I think, like the media has been saying, United is tired of paying off managers who don't work. So give him 2 years, see what he does. If it works, give him, a longer contract. But I think we have the right guy now. You can see, and the way he plans, he says a year from now, you're going to see a different United. And I think Arsenal has gotten the first test of what United is going to be a year from now. And I can guarantee you can take this to the bank. That game a year from now will be very different. It will not be about corner kicks. It will not be about Bolton FC on Red Bull. It will be about hard ball. And Amorim has a surprise for you guys. Wait.
Well, we'll hope Arsenal also does not remain constant and make some improvements for us to see something. But we'll leave.
Hopefully. We're seeing a regression in Arsenal. They're supposed to be chasing Liverpool. They are fighting with a guy in preseason. Let's wait.
No, but the table says something different, my brother. And
it's 7 points behind. That's what the table says.
No. We know the circumstances under which that is the case. But we will get there slowly but surely. We will get there. Chelsea is also still on Arsenal's bumper, and they're doing quite well. But as we wrap up Man United, the focus on United, right? The next 6 games, Musem, you have the next one this weekend. You host Nottingham Forest. You expect that one will be a victory at Old Trafford. But then after that, the following weekend, away at the Etihad to a Man City that has been wounded, is a wounded animal, and actually got a decent result last night, winning 3-0 against Forest, I think it was. And then you have Bournemouth and Wolves, Bournemouth at home, Wolves away. And then you have Newcastle coming to Old Trafford, the last game of the year. And then you open the new year away at Anfield. So your next 6 games, you have City and Liverpool. Do you see wins in there?
Maybe not wins. Maybe not wins. No. But you see, the games are coming thick and fast, and that means it accelerates the preparations that you have. It's actually a very good thing that the games that are coming up are tough. So all the players have to step up. And the good thing is that he's given all the players a chance. I think literally everyone in the squad has played, apart from the guys injured. I think Lindelof and I don't know, some 2 or 3 players haven't played, but everybody has gotten a chance. Everybody knows where they're supposed to play. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. So in those games, at least United has had a very bad record away. I think we've won only 1 game. For the home games, it's a must. You should be winning. You should be winning games against Nottingham at home. You should be winning games against Bournemouth at home. That's non-negotiable, and that's what he has to communicate to his players. And then the away games are tricky. You have City in a derby that can go either way. City is wounded. They need to, step up their game. Of course, they had to beat Forest. I'm hoping United also does the same. Then they both go into that game with some kind of confidence to play a good game. But I think City, KDB makes them different. KDB is very creative, and that's what they've lacked, for the past few games. But also, they are vulnerable. They don't have that pivot that keeps them in shape. So you can attack them the way United played yesterday. If you control the game, then you have that moment of quick attack where Rashford, Diallo, Garnacho can spring up. And once you get up to that City defense, really, they look like an amateur club. You can score goals. And I think the past 6, 7 games have showed that City can actually concede goals if you come at them. So that's a game I'm not so worried about. Liverpool, of course, is a beast. They've been very good in the past. I think they've They are top of both leagues, Champions League and a Premiership. That shows that this is a good side. But if you can go and get that draw at Anfield, it's not a bad result. I don't expect them to win. A draw should be okay. Beat City and you're back into the conversation, at least for a top 4, top 6 finish.
Very interesting. We leave all things Man United and that, and since you kept referring to Man City, I will pull Man City in, and since we have Jupe, Bonnie Jupe, we need to give, getting Man City fans is not something very easy. They are usually in prep, but this time still studying. They are attending a night prep. But Bonnie is one of the seniors who has been with the team for some time. So working class, the one the rest look forward to. So I will bring you in, Bonnie. Mr. Job, your team doing well after 7 games without a win? My brother. That
6.
was troublesome. 6 games without a win, 5 losses. A blip for Manchester City. They came out resoundingly 3-0. I mean, such has been the dominance of Man City over the years that even that is being referred to as a blip, not necessarily a crisis. So your take on that match. What changed for you? Obviously, KDB starting, but notably, Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland has not scored again. So I want to hear your assessment of that match. 3-0 the final score.
Yeah, it was a good game. I would say injuries really affected Man City this season. I read something. Pep Guardiola was saying Man City should have started planning on rebuilding the team last year. He thought he would do it next year, but now he's seeing the problem now. Because if you're to look at Man City, most of the players are old, 30 years. So injuries have been affecting the team. KDB is key, but of course he was off form. He has been starting off bench. We had an injury. Doku was also injured. Some defenders, Ruben Diaz. So the losses, I would say, if you're really a person who is updated, you would not be surprised, because if you don't have the key players, you're not going to win a game. Premier League is competitive nowadays. You play a small team and they'll win you. So it's good that they won.
You put it all down to injuries, nothing else.
Yeah, it's the injuries and maybe lack of the players, the backup players.
Okay, that's very interesting. Faz, do you have the same take?
Yes, injuries. Yes, I will admit injuries are contributing to what Man City is going through right now. But also the age. Players are aging. You can look at Gundogan, is no longer the same man. Bernardo Silva, no longer the same man. Rodri also getting injured in that kind of manner. I'm not surprised, because he played a lot of games. There's also that. There's fatigue. It's causing a lot of injuries. And when you look at December fixtures, just December alone, it's stacked. We are playing every after 2 days. Trust me, we are going to see many more injuries. It's not only going to be City, or the only team I see that has an upper hand here when it comes to injuries is Chelsea, because they have like 100 players. Some are even in the store, But whatever City is going through right now, I won't promise you, and I'm going to tell you, they're still going to suffer, because they even don't have a spine. They don't have a spine player like Rodri used to be. They don't have that player who's going to decide whether to recycle or transition the ball. Whoever is going to be put there, they're going to be pressed and won't know what to do. He's going to panic. And whenever you lose the ball, especially in that kind of position, trust me, you're going to be punished. And their defensive line hasn't been good. Even since last season, they suffered a lot in the beginning of last season, you remember. They're still suffering. I can promise you that, until Rodri returns.
Wild player there, Ballon d'Or.
Yes, first take Ballon d'Or. Yes, first take it back.
Hey, surviving without the Ballon d'Or is something that I mean, without a Ballon d'Or player, you're missing that. That definitely means you're missing, arguably, amongst a host of stars, your best player, right? That's for Man City. So they'll definitely feel the impact, and I think it is fair enough to say yes, injuries have played their part, but I mean, it's the first time Pep Guardiola has undergone such a run, and of course he has faced injuries several times before. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on how he's doing. He had dropped down in the table, but that win now taking him up to fourth place on 26 points, just two behind Arsenal and Chelsea, who are tied on 28 points, who are of course 7 points behind Liverpool, who are still at the top. Brighton is yet to play. If they win their game, they will go above City, right there in fourth. But for now, that's the way the table stands. And looking at, ideally, looking at the other result, arguably for me, yes, the excitement of Manchester United or Arsenal versus Manchester United was certainly something that took the night. But in terms of action, and excitement, the game against, Liverpool, or rather Newcastle versus Liverpool at St. James's Park, was a cracker. 3-3, the final result in that one. Musem, Liverpool. I mean, Mo Salah, you mentioned he has now become inevitable with 2 goals there, and Curtis Jones with 1 goal right there. But Newcastle, of course, actually opening the scoring through Alexander Isak, and then basically taking the lead through Anthony Gordon before being pegged back and scoring a late one, a howler there from Kelleher, the Liverpool keeper, who left a ball, and Fabian Schär sliding in to equalize for Newcastle. Liverpool, their wins or their dominance in terms of winning has been cut by that draw. Their lead has been cut to 7 points. That seems to be doable. That's just 2 losses, and a draw or something like that. That they need to be caught up with. And I don't know, Musem, I want to pull you in for this one. Your take first on the match, and do you think this will slow Liverpool down, or it's just a small bump on the road to the trophy?
Well, I think this is one of the fixtures in the Premier League that throws up the most crackers. I think in the past, this game has been very hot. Newcastle, Liverpool, all the way from Stan, Collymore, and all those players. Those games have always been hot, and no surprise that we had a crack of a game. It's the first time this season I've seen Liverpool start a game very slow. And what does that mean? That means that that press is beginning to get tired, if you may say. The games are coming thick and fast. Definitely they will wobble a bit, but I think they still have it in them to go all the way. It hurts for a United player to sit here and think Liverpool is going to win and get that 20th title, but I think they are good for it. And one of the major issues they had yesterday, and hopefully it doesn't continue, is the defense was shaken up a bit. Bradley's injured. Trent was coming from an injury, and he didn't want to really throw him in the deep end. So you bring in Kwanzaa and Gomez, arguably they are one players yesterday. It destabilized their defense. And I think for some reason, I'm just speculating, maybe that's why they were not, going so up, to press, because they press as a team. If the front goes big, then the back has to be close to them, to close those gaps. So that then the recovery is quick. Okay. Bradley has not been very bad. Konate was playing very, very well before he got injured. So actually that Konate injury seems to be the one that has shaken up the slot machine a bit. Yes. But I think, they might wobble. 7 7 points, like you said, is 2 losses, but I don't think they are going to lose. They may draw here and there, but a loss, they're still doing well. Let's hope that a team catches them, a team that's not Arsenal. But I think I'm still tipping them to go all the way. The way he's very pragmatic. He doesn't get so excited. You've seen the kind of games he's been winning. He's not a guy who wins 4-0, 2-0, 2-1. The team keeps its structure. Then that's the mark of a coach who knows what needs to be done. Actually, there's a time when Klopp, before Klopp mastered the art of winning leagues in England, his team used to go gung ho. They would press 4-0, 4-1, and eventually at the death, they would run out of steam. But this is the guy who presses very fast in the beginning of a game. In that game on the weekend against Man City, it could have been 4-0 in about 30 minutes, right? And then they sit back and relax the way they did against Madrid. First 20 minutes he blew away Madrid, could have scored even more goals. Then in the second half he was comfortable on the ball, blocking all the loopholes and what. So I think he's doing very well. I'm still tipping them to win. It will not be by the margin that we are seeing now, but I think they have it in them to go and win maybe a point or two above the rest. And I think City will still finish second.
You man, that is no good. But anyways, we'll see what happens. But looking at their next 6 games, you're saying you don't expect them to lose. At worst a draw, but draws will also be cumulative. If they draw 3 or 4 times, then that's them being caught up with. And just like we discussed, United 6 games, Liverpool 6 games. The next one, of course, the Merseyside derby at Everton. This is the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park before Everton move to a new stadium from next season. So it's going to be emotionally charged for the Evertonians. And we'll see, of course, we'll see what happens. But I don't expect this one will be a walk in the park. I think they will put up a fight, Everton. Whether that results in a victory or even a draw, we'll wait and see. But they did win 4-0 last night. I think they beat Wolves. And then the next one, they welcome Fulham to Anfield. Then they go to Spa, which will be interesting. And then they welcome Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester City to Anfield. And then they go away to West Ham, who are shambles. I think they'll smash these guys. And before starting the new year, welcoming Manchester United to Anfield. So, of course, that's a derby as well. 2 more successful clubs in British football. And we'll wait to see. So, some banana skins there first, don't you think, for Liverpool?
Liverpool. I'm telling you, Liverpool is going to be found out soon because they are still riding on Klopp's template. The Klopp used to play last season. He changed the whole system. He used to play game pressing. Nowadays, he then changed to a rush kind of game. They rush you. If they're around your box, they're going to take shots, as many shots as possible. But then that is going to change. Why? As I told you, there's a lot of fixtures coming up. This match fitness is going to wear off because they will have to interchange with a lot of players. And then when you look, what they do mostly is they rotate the attackers more than the midfielders. The midfielders are always constant, as well as the back line. But then that is also going to wear off. The midfielders are going to get so tired. Remember, they play a double pivot of holding players. They are just rushed. Gravenberch and McAllister are just rush players. They're not normal defensive midfielders. They're not ball winners. They're just going to rush you. You make a silly decision, you lose the ball. They take you back. They rush you to your box. They take as many shots as possible. The other tactic they use is maybe playing over the back line, and then Salah is behind you. He's going to take that shot. Liverpool, if you ask me, I think they'll finish third or second. Yes.
Mm.
It looks like there's the big gap in points right now to between them and second, but it's going to change as the moment City picks up, and it's going to take a long time. The moment City picks up, and I'm not expecting it to happen right now, it's going to be a different story. But trust me, Arsenal right now is the man for the job. However far he is back there, Chelsea is going to fall off. Arsenal is the man for the job this season. Liverpool, no.
Well done. You can see the confidence in there. He expects Arsenal to jump in and nick Liverpool to the title. We had some comments coming here from one of our virtual listeners or viewers. Kevin Janavan is saying, I think this was to Jupe when he was talking about City. Jupe, you are giving the excuse that City had many injuries, but Kevin says, Jupe, many teams have had injuries and still performed. The truth is, people like Foden, Bernardo Silva, Stones, Walker, Haaland, and many more have all been off form. Do you agree, Jupe? Just very quickly, responding to this comment about your beloved City.
I agree. I agree with him. I agree. Players have been off form, but we shall catch up, hopefully, before the year ends.
So do you sell, just very quickly before we get back to the floor here, so who do you sell? You say the team is now old, the spine is aging, eh? Who do you sell at the end of the season? Hearing Pep needs to rebuild.
Yeah, of course, we need a new replacement for Kyle Walker. We need an KDB, someone who would come in for KDB, probably someone like Musiala. We need some.
Or Cole Palmer.
No, we don't need Cole Palmer. It's too expensive.
You guys are the money
we need
bags.
a few changes.
And an extra striker. You only have one, and he's not performing.
Yeah, he will catch up. He just needs those balls in the boxes.
KDB is back, so we'll wait to see how that manifests or moves in. Kevin, thanks for the comment, guys. Keep the comments coming. Subscribe if you haven't, like, share, and we'll be happy to have you participate. Moving on to the final match involving one of the big six, Chelsea rampant away at Southampton. 5-1 the final score. Southampton did get a red card in there, but goals coming in from Disasi, Nkunku, Madueke, Cole Palmer, of course, and Jadon Sancho, giving Chelsea a resounding victory right there that takes them up to second place, just ahead of Arsenal on goal difference by 2. And Chelsea looking sharp. They're flying under the radar, effectively and efficiently getting their results. And despite their manager saying they are not at all in the title race, it will eventually, for me, come down to how long they can hang on in second and third place. And if they're still at this position come March, then you start to think they can actually cause an upset, if I should call it that. Not so, Musem.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea are in the title race. Okay, so for the advantage, like I think Faz said, was they have a very big squad. So right now, as games are coming thick and fast and teams are struggling to rotate, Chelsea doesn't have that problem. They can throw on 2 different teams, any day. So when the push comes to shove in those big matches that require big players, I don't think Chelsea has that many big players. Out of Cole Palmer, Jackson is having such a brilliant season. He's very clinical. I don't see any other. The defense is really a shambles. That's a defense that if you attack any day, you can score goals. Actually, you saw the Southampton goal. If they did not get that red card, Southampton was also still going to score a couple of goals against Chelsea. So yes, Chelsea is a good side. Enzo is doing very well. I think this is a guy who went through Pep, so he knows what he's doing. We saw what he did at Leicester, but I don't think they're in the title. They'll finish thereabout. Probably they might make it in top 4, but I don't tip them for the title. I think it's too soon, too early. Maybe next year, but right now they're thriving off the ability to freshen up a squad. You know, a person like Nkunku hasn't been playing. He was kept out of the side by Jackson's form. You bring him in against a bottom side team with a red card, definitely Nkunku is going to score goals. Yeah. So yeah, a good side, but I think it's too early for them to be in the title, conversation.
Fantastic. And we'll have to take your word for it. I thought you were saying maybe next year. I thought next year was Amorim's year to win United the title, but
No.
you have chickened out.
United makes news. You want to relate United to the title so that the Premiership gets the buzz and everything, and people sell newspapers so that you can read some more Daily Mail. But the man is steady. He's saying, "Give me time. I need time to organize myself." And like I said, a year from now, United is going to be a different ball game. Whether they'll be going for the title, I think that's a different discussion. There's still a lot of work to do. I don't think he's going to get the money to sell all those players. There's a bunch of players, about 5 players, who don't need to be in that side. So switching them up is going to take about 2 windows. So there's still work to be done. We're not going to rush Amorim.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to leave it at that for this week's show. Thanks to Faz, Musem, and Jup for joining right here. And we'll definitely be back come next week to review the weekend's action, looking at the fixtures coming up, yet to be played. Tonight we have Fulham versus Brighton. That's currently 1-0 with Fulham leading right there. And then you have Bournemouth versus Spurs as well for tonight. And then ideally on the weekend, which is 7th December, you will have the matches kick off with the Merseyside Derby. Like I said, Everton welcoming Liverpool for the last Merseyside Derby at Goodison Park. And then from the other big boys, Manchester City go away to Crystal Palace, Manchester United welcome Forest to Old Trafford, Fulham welcome Arsenal to Craven Cottage, and there will be a London derby with Chelsea going away to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and that should be an equally exciting match. And then the results for that week, we'll wait to see what happens after that, and should be interesting as the games go along. The Premier League is in full gear at the moment, and we thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week, and do have a fantastic rest of the weekend ahead. Cheers and bye-bye.